Hi, how you guys doing, folks? Good afternoon. Johnzel, solo podcaster speaking. And today I want to get into a little bit of the difference between good and nice. The reason for that is because I think these days in society, I think it's becoming more of a priority to be nice rather than to be good. And with these three examples that I'm going to give you, hopefully you could figure out the distinguishment and the difference between and why it is important to distinguish good and nice. So to distinguish the difference between good and nice, I'm gonna use three examples with politics, parenting, and the work environment. So I'm gonna go ahead and start off with politics. So we got Democrats and Republicans. Democrats come across as the good or nice people, right? Fighting for free houses such as Section 8, WIC, food stamps, all those other resources for free. Sounds good and nice. And then we got Republicans who sound like the bad guys, but they're always trying to either minimize or take away the entire resource or just end it all when it comes to free stuff. So it appears that the Democrats and the nice people, and the Democrats are the nice guys, the good guys, right? Well, let me break it down to you like this. So Democrats are always trying to give people this free stuff, such as Section 8, food stamps, and all that, right? And I understand that with the economy and the way society is and economic status, how everything's going in the United States, you would think that, hey, that's a good thing. Well, honestly, I'm going to break it down so that you can see that all this free stuff has actually caused this economic meltdown, if you will. You see, so giving people free houses and food, it for decades at a time, for generations, it makes the population, the masses, dependent on Democrats or dependent on these resources such as food stamps, Section 8, and WIC and all that other stuff. All right, so you see, so you would think that after a while, after all these generations, since the 80s probably, if not before, to these generations leading up to now, you see that Democrats are still fighting for it, are giving more and more resources. Things are becoming more free and available to the lower class. So if you look at it from the outside, looking at, you see the Republicans are trying to take that away, free stuff, and then you got the Democrats trying to give that free stuff. So you would confuse nice and good, but here's where I get to the distinguishment of nice and good with this example. So if you hand feed someone and give them free everything for a certain amount of time, they're gonna become dependent, like I said, right? So that seems good and nice, but then they're no longer they're when someone's dependent, you take away that their liberty, their freedom, basically. Like now they need you, so they need these Democrats. So these Democrats now have these people in need of them, and sort of like empowering themselves and taking away the power, the empowerment from the population. Republicans are trying to take away those resources, but they're trying to ask you to get it on your own, right? So I'm gonna give you an example of a story of a girl that I know from my community in Watsonville, and this probably applies to many of them. With all due respect, so this girl's working a part-time job and working basically minimum wage. She has Section 8 and food stamps and all that good stuff. So the thing is that she got offered a position at the company, a higher pay, more hours, a more respectable position, moving higher up in the company. However, she turned it down because and able to meet this criteria for the free house and the WIC and the food stamps and all that stuff, she has to be making under a certain amount a month. I'm not really sure the details, but so the bottom line is she turned down those excuse me, she turned down those that opportunity to move up in life and move up into the company so that she could be able to qualify for that free stuff. So, okay, so you got her totally just lean, not even trying to advance, trying to minimize and hold back on her potential so that she can qualify for this free stuff. Okay, so that's the Democrats fighting for free this and free that for the people. Okay, so opportunity, here comes the Republicans. So Republicans are trying to take away all these resources, free items, and push people. So I got another example and of another girl that I know in my community down in Watsonville, California, and this probably applies to the other half. This girl is motivated. She doesn't have free house. She doesn't have a Section 8 house or food stamps or WIC and any of that stuff. She does have a child, however, the same as this other one. But the thing is, she's trying to get it on her own. So she might not have like her own house, but she like has her own studio and stuff like that. And then she gets her own food and all that stuff. Right? You could just see the difference, you know. And this one is always trying to advance in her company and trying to move up and stuff like that. So you see how she's not getting any of these free resources. So she's having to push herself to obviously reach to the top, right? So and she's she's going to school and stuff like that to try to better her education and obtain more skill sets and all that, more experience in the workplace. So you see how on this hand on this hand the girl's getting it on her own, she's pushing herself, and on the other hand, on this hand, this girl's restraining herself, not reaching her full potential, so that she can qualify for these free benefits and stuff like that the Democrats have so adamantly offered out to the population. So if you ask me, like you would think that the Republicans are bad and the Democrats are good. So that when something is given to you all these years and then generations, and given to your kids and stuff, and all this free stuff. So when you give them free stuff, you take away their independence. So you take away their independence, and then like for most of us who knows what it's like to get their own stuff on their own, get their move up, and you get your own food, you get your own education, you get your own house, no help whatsoever from no government agency, no one helped you, you went and got it on your own. That's a feeling of empowerment and triumph and overcoming. So when Democrats are giving you this stuff for years and generations, they take away that triumph, that overcoming, that willpower, your motivation. So there's no need to be motivated, because you don't got to worry, because you got all this free stuff. You see, you got the Republicans here. Like, let's say they took away all that stuff. Us as human beings, we're very capable. So the way that we strive to better our education, move up in the workplace, obtain new skill sets for different jobs, different various like careers and stuff like that. So you see the other hand, this other girl is pushing herself to get it on her own, right? So you got the Republicans who are trying to force you to get it on your own without their help. That you might not see it, but they're empowering you, making it hard. You got to push yourself. Obviously, you got to meet everybody halfway. So, for you, so they're pushing you to get it on your own. So forcing you to better education, better better skill sets for work. You see, that's not a bad thing, but a lot of people look at it as a bad thing because it's not free. It's hard work. But when you work and get it on your own, that's that feeling of triumph, overcoming, and basically freedom. So you see how the Democrats are being nice, but it's not so good because they're taking away your own empowerment. And then you see how the Republicans are not so nice, but it's good what they're asking you to do to get it on your own, like we should be, basically giving us our own freedom. So nice, not good. Not nice, good. Okay, I'm gonna give you one more example with parenting. Okay, so in today's society, when it comes to parenting, in a lot of cases nowadays, there's two homes due to the broken families. So I'm gonna use this example between good and nice in parenting. So the you got the nice parent and you got the good parent. So you got an example of the good parent. This is a true story, by the way. So the good parent, obviously, here's a story. We're at a baseball game, and the child has a total of 3 Rice Krispies, and then so he has a total of 3 Rice Krispies, and when the parent, so after the second one, the mom, the good parent in this example, told the child, okay, no more sweets, we're gonna eat later. So then you got the nice parent, and he seems to be more concerned with being nice as opposed to doing good. So so obviously when the child was told no more after this, obviously he went to his father, or the nice parent, and the nice parent willingly went up and got him 1 more Rice Krispie and a soda on top of that. So you see, so you have the parent that's being nice and went against the other parent that's trying to be good. The nice parent went and bought the child another candy and another soda on top of that. So the child, who doesn't know any better, obviously thinks, well, hey, this is the nicer parent, stuff like that. Obviously he got upset or not upset, but he would prefer to be with the nice parent in situations like that. And then you have the good parent who got mad and stopped things got a little tense for a moment and stopped the child from drinking the soda and the third Rice Krispie. So, looking at from the child's standpoint, you think, hey, this here you got my dad buying me, soda and Rice Krispie, and you got my mom over here restricting me from eating this good stuff. Rice Krispies are good, especially when you're a child. So, right there, you might think, children might think, this is a nice parent. He's buying me all this stuff, candy, sweets, not restrict. There's no restrictions with this parent, but with this parent, there's a lot of restrictions. Well, you see, obviously, if you're a parent, you can see where I'm getting to. Where, yeah, the mom restricted his eating like sweets and stuff like that, drinking soda, and she always does, which is a good thing, because if we let our child choose their own diet, they might give themselves, diabetes at a young age, or heart problems. They like all the Takis, the hot Cheetos, the ice cream, soda, stuff like that, candies. So obviously, as a good parent, you got to restrict your child, for their own health and for their future, for their teeth, all this stuff. You got to put restrictions on what they eat, such as sweets and their diet. So, so what she wasn't so nice because she had to put restrictions, but it's a good reason why she's putting those restrictions. And when the child gets to know better, he's gonna obviously thank his mom. You see, and then the father on the other side is so caught up with trying to be the nice parent, trying to come across as the nice parent, that he's not doing such a good thing. Later on, you never know. The child keeps on eating sweets, doesn't put restrictions, doesn't learn how to put restrictions, and you don't tell him the importance of eating healthy and why you minimize the sweets and all that. He could potentially give himself, heart problems, diabetes, stuff like that when he's an adult. So you see, you got that example of parenting with the nice parent, and then you got the good parent restricting. So it's not always a nice thing, but it's a good thing. It's not always and in this case, you got the nice parent is being nice, but it's not always good. You get what I'm saying? That's the second part of the distinguishment. So I'm gonna get into the third distinguishment. I'll make this quick, and this is also a true story with the workplace. So when it comes to the workplace, probably like 2 years ago, I used to work for a company, and it's the same company, same size, same. It was a driving company, and we did deliveries. I do deliveries at my current job, and then at this job, I did deliveries as well, driving. So the difference with this, and they're both worth. They have the same size fleet. They're both worth the same amount. They're both worth a couple million. So this previous employer, the owner, was a very nice guy, right? He'd come up to you, shake your hand, and want to know how your week went, and just ask how things are going. And he would look at you into the eyes and take the time. He'd give you a couple of hats, a sweater, company sweaters, stuff like that. So he'd be doing this, shaking you, looking at you in the eye, shaking your hand, and then he'd hand you like a $400 check for the week. Take home like $480. So under $500 you'd be taking home, and I had been working there for a couple years already. So and then then I go to this other company where the owner, he's not so nice, doesn't take the time to talk to you, won't look at you in the eye, but he hands me a $1,500 check every week. So he's not taking the time to acknowledge me and stuff like that, right? You think, hey, this guy, what a dick. He's not acknowledging me. He won't even look at me, but he's offering me a check that's like 3.5 more times bigger than the nice guy was. So I'm comparing this. I'm looking back now, and then I look back, and then I do a reflection of the whole company that I had previously worked for, and I see the dudes have been working there for like 20, 15, 10 years, and they're probably taking home $500-600 a week still. And I see how people might end up stuck there because you got such a nice owner shaking you, looking at you in your eyes, shaking your hand, and taking the time to get to know you and stuff, and he's handing you pennies. So I see how the difference, and I see they both make them out the same. They both do agriculture, they both deliver agriculture, they both have the same size fleet, stuff like that, same amount of employees, everything. So the difference is you got an owner who's not so nice, but he pays his employees really well, and when that's a significant example right there, because he's not looking in your eye, he doesn't even look at you, he hands you your check, but it's this decent sized check that could allow you to advance in your life outside of work, you know. And then you got the nice owner of the company smiling, shaking your hand, asking you how life's going, and then you see that your checks are only under $500 take home. Keep in mind too that, you know, at this other job, the more responsibilities that they put on you, the more they pay you. At this job, you know, he compensated the minimum, the low pay and the overworking with a smile and a handshake. So, because it had me fooled for 2 years, or almost 2 years, had me fooled, you know, this handshake and stuff like that. You know, it made me feel like, hey, you know what, you know, I didn't want to leave because the owner's so nice, but you know, with financially, I was like falling apart outside of work. You know, I just couldn't make ends meet, borrowing money. I couldn't even live paycheck to paycheck. Literally, I'd be like borrowing money like in the middle of the week when I was working for this company. So you see how the difference between the nice guy, the nice owner, and then the good owner. So the good owner don't even look at you, don't even smile at you, nothing. But he hands you the beautiful check, you know, the decent check. This guy doesn't, you know. And at this company, the more responsibility, you weren't seeing more money, but you were seeing more smiles, more handshakes from the owner. So you could kind of distinguish it yourself, the nice, not so good owner, the not so nice, the really good owner. See that? So those are my 3 examples of the distinguishment of good and nice. It's important, really, I think, that people begin to notice the difference between good and nice, because this day and age, society is like leaning more towards the nice, and that's not always good. It's making people really sensitive, you know, and sensitive and needy, you know, and dependent on government and dependent on protest and dependent on all this stuff, you know. So whatever you get out of this video, the importance of this video was to get the difference between good and nice. I hope you got that with these examples. With that being said, folks, johnzel, solo podcaster, speaking. If you aren't already subscribing, please do so. Share, like, and subscribe. Peace.